You've probably heard all the buzz about crypto, but let's be honest, one of the biggest headlines you see is always about its massive environmental footprint. It's a huge controversy for sure. So today, we're going to tackle a big question. Is green crypto actually a thing, or is it all just a myth?
I mean, it's a fair question, right? You see the headlines, you read the articles, all these warnings about crypto's insane energy use. It can really feel like the whole technology is just fundamentally broken from an environmental standpoint. But is that the full picture?
And this is exactly why people are so concerned. This isn't some small-time issue. We are literally talking about a digital system that, in some cases, uses more energy than entire nations like Argentina or the Netherlands. It's a staggering amount of power. But to figure out if this can be fixed, we have to understand where all that energy is actually going.
All right, so let's get past those headlines. It's time to really dig in and find the real source of this massive energy problem.
Okay, this right here is probably the single most important thing to understand. The problem isn't the digital coins themselves. It has nothing to do with you sending or receiving crypto. It is all about the security system that's running in the background. That's the powerful, incredibly complex method they use to verify every single transaction.
So let's take a look at that security system. The original model, the one that's responsible for those country-size electricity bills, is something called proof of work.
Now, before we dive into proof of work, we just need one key term: consensus mechanism. I know, it sounds super technical, but the idea is actually pretty simple. It's just the rule book. It's the set of rules that everyone using the network agrees on to make sure nobody cheats and that all the transactions are legit. Proof of work is just one type of rulebook.
So, if you want to boil proof of work down to a single idea, this is it. Think of it like a non-stop, super competitive race. You've got thousands of powerful computers all over the world, all competing against each other, 24/7.
So how does this race actually work? Well, you have these folks called miners who use warehouses full of powerful computers, all trying to guess the answer to a really complex math puzzle. The first one to find the solution gets to add the next block of transactions to the chain. And for doing all that work and spending all that electricity, they get a reward of brand new coins.
And here's the crazy part. This high energy use isn't a bug, it's not an accident, it's a core feature of how it's designed. The insane amount of electricity being burned in this global race is what makes the network so secure and so hard to attack. So in this system, more energy actually means more security.
But what if you could get that same security without the giant energy bill? Well, that brings us to a much newer and frankly far more elegant solution. It's called proof of stake.
So if proof of work is that brutal, energy-guzzling race, proof of stake is, well, it's something totally different. It works a lot more like a lottery. Instead of everyone competing, participants are basically just chosen at random to do the work. The difference here is night and day. Instead of miners burning tons of energy, you have validators who put up their own coins as collateral. They stake them, see? And for putting their own money on the line, one of them gets randomly picked to create the next block. There's no global race, no puzzle solving, which, as you can guess, leads to a completely different level of energy use.
And just how different are we talking? Get this. This is the number that changes the entire game. We're talking about an energy reduction of over 99.9%. It's not just an improvement, it's a total paradigm shift.
I mean, just to put that into perspective, look at this. The energy consumption of proof of work is like a skyscraper, and next to it, proof of stake, it's barely a speck of dust on the ground. The difference is absolutely staggering.
Okay, so this all sounds amazing in theory, right? But is anyone actually using this greener model today? Let's meet some of the main contenders.
The biggest, most famous example by far is Ethereum, which is the second largest crypto out there. Back in 2022, it went through this massive, historic upgrade they called the merge. And it did exactly what we've been talking about. It completely switched its engine from the old, hungry proof-of-work system to the super efficient proof-of-stake. Its energy consumption was slashed literally overnight.
And Ethereum is definitely not alone. A lot of the newer cryptocurrencies were built from day one to be energy efficient. You've got projects like Cardano, which is super focused on academic research and long-term sustainability. And then there's Solana, which is built for lightning-fast transaction speeds. They all run on that same green foundation, proof of stake.
So, we've seen the problem and we've seen the solution, but now let's zoom out and ask the really big question: why does any of this actually matter?
So here's the bottom line. That huge energy consumption from proof of work, you could argue it's the single biggest thing holding crypto back from being widely accepted. It's a totally legitimate ethical and practical problem. Proof of stake solves that problem. It proves that green crypto is not a myth, it's a technological choice. And making that choice is absolutely critical if this whole ecosystem wants to have a sustainable future.
So going back to our original question, no, not all cryptocurrency is an environmental disaster. The tech to build a secure, decentralized, and energy-efficient digital world already exists. So the real question isn't about what's possible anymore, it's about which path we're going to choose to build on.